Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're taking on a role that is, well, absolutely critical for any organization aiming to make a significant impact: the campaign director. Forget the surface level job descriptions. We're going to unpack what it really takes to excel in this incredibly multifaceted position.
Indeed. We've got some truly fascinating insights today from Kaplan's 6 campaign director interview questions.
hmm
This isn't just a list. It's really a window into the core competencies, the strategic thinking, and the nuanced leadership required for this vital role. Gives us a pretty comprehensive look at the skills and experience that genuinely drive success.
That's right. Our mission today is to give you a shortcut, really, to truly grasp not just what a campaign director does, but what sets a great one apart. We're talking about someone who can develop truly creative components, expertly guide team performance, and manage campaign objectives with, well, precision and purpose. Think of this as your guide to assessing the technical skills, the organizational prowess, the leadership abilities, and even that often overlooked creativity needed to successfully manage and execute a campaign.
It's all about understanding how to spot the candidate who can truly drive results, cultivate deep engagement, and skillfully navigate the complexities of fundraising and outreach in today's dynamic environment. So let's unpack this together.
Okay, let's start by looking at what I see as the absolute bedrock of a campaign director's role: their proven experience in creating and managing fundraising campaigns. This isn't just about showing up with good intentions. It's about a tangible, demonstrable track record of success.
Right. And what's fascinating here, according to our source material, is the sheer breadth and depth of experience expected. It points to a minimum of 4 years of actively managing and creating fundraising campaigns. And crucially, this isn't just one narrow type of fundraising. It's about a truly diverse portfolio across multiple channels.
Okay, when you say diverse portfolio, what specific types of fundraising are we talking about? Because I imagine each one comes with its own unique set of challenges, its own, like, strategic playbook.
Precisely. The source explicitly mentions several key areas, and it's important to understand the nuance of each. First, there's direct mail.
Direct mail, really, in this day and age?
Yeah, you might think direct mail is a bit of a relic, right? But what's truly interesting is that studies often show it boasts higher open and response rates for certain demographics compared to email. It creates this tangible physical connection that digital channels can't quite replicate. A great campaign director understands the art and science of these written appeals. It's about compelling narratives, clear calls to action, and crucially, data-driven list segmentation. It's not just, sending out letters randomly.
Mhm.
It's understanding the psychology behind what makes someone open that envelope, read it, and ultimately contribute. It's a far cry from just stuffing envelopes.
So it's not a legacy channel that's dying, but one that's actually evolving, requiring specific expertise to maximize its impact. That's a surprising nugget right there. What's next on that diverse list?
Next, we move into grant writing. This involves navigating the often complex world of institutional funding, foundations, government grants.
Right, the big institute.
Exactly. And it's not just about good writing. It's about understanding the often arcane language of an RFP, a request for proposal, and knowing how to meticulously tailor your organization's mission to a funder's specific niche. It requires painstaking research, strict adherence to guidelines, and often playing the long game of relationship building with program officers long before a single word is even typed.
Wow.
It's a very different beast from a direct mail appeal, often involving lengthy proposals, detailed budget breakdowns, and rigorous reporting requirements. The technical skill here is, well, it's immense.
That sounds like a highly specialized skill, requiring both strong analytical capabilities and a real eye for minute detail. And then there are events, which are often the public face of fundraising, right?
Yes, special events. These can range from grand galas to community walkathons, or even hybrid and virtual events in today's landscape. The challenges here are multi-layered. There are logistical managing vendors, venues, volunteers, maybe technology for virtual components, but also deeply tied to engagement and experience.
It's not just putting on a party.
Not at all. A great campaign director understands that an event isn't just about raising money on the night. It's about cultivation, stewardship, and bringing the mission to life. It's about creating an atmosphere that inspires giving and reinforces the organization's mission in a tangible way. One common mistake here is underestimating the volunteer management aspect. Volunteers are the lifeblood, and their experience is just as crucial as the donors.
Good point. And finally, the big ones: major gifts. This is where the truly significant contributions often come in. It feels like a completely different ballgame from a mass mailing or a large event, much more personal.
It certainly is. Major gifts involve the personal, high-stakes cultivation of significant donors. This isn't a one-off transaction. It's about long-term relationship building, often spanning years. It requires a high degree of emotional intelligence to understand individual philanthropists' passions, their personal giving philosophy, and then aligning those with the organization's strategic needs. It's about patience, persistence, and building profound trust.
So the campaign director needs to be skilled in managing those delicate relationships too.
Absolutely. They must be adept at guiding staff through this often intimate process, recognizing that a major gift is less a solicitation and more a deeply personal partnership. The source indicates a campaign director needs experience across all these diverse channels, not just specializing in one or two. It's a broad skill set.
So it's not just about running a campaign. It's about having a strategic approach to each of these distinct fundraising channels, understanding their nuances, and knowing how to integrate them into a cohesive strategy. The source even highlights the development of strategies for each type of fundraising.
Exactly. This implies a deep understanding of the unique psychological and logistical levers for, say, a direct mail campaign versus a major gift appeal. You're not using a hammer for every nail, right?
Yeah.
Furthermore, the source emphasizes experience in successfully partnered with other nonprofits. This points directly to the collaborative nature of the role and the potential for amplifying impact through strategic alliances. It shows a campaign director needs to think beyond their own organizational walls.
Okay, what does this tell us about the need for a campaign director to be both an independent driver and a truly effective team player within a broader ecosystem? Because that sounds like a constant balancing act, especially in the, sometimes competitive nonprofit landscape.
Well, it tells us they need to be strategic networkers.
Yeah.
While they're absolutely responsible for driving their own campaigns, they also need to be adept at forming and nurturing those external relationships. An organization's reach and impact can be significantly magnified by collaborating with other nonprofits, whether it's sharing resources to reduce costs, co-hosting events to expand reach, or jointly advocating for a cause to gain political traction.
So seeing collaboration over competition.
Precisely. A common mistake is seeing other nonprofits solely as competitors. A great campaign director possesses the vision to identify beneficial partnerships and the sophisticated interpersonal skills to forge and maintain them, seeing the bigger picture beyond just their own organization's immediate goals.
And in today's world, you simply can't run campaigns effectively, especially with all these different channels and external partnerships, without the right tools. The source mentions experience with donor databases and communication platforms.
That raises an important question. Why are these tools so critical? There are, quite frankly, the technological backbone for tracking, segmenting, and communicating with donors efficiently and, at scale.
Yeah.
They move fundraising from guesswork, maybe gut feelings, to a data-informed strategic process.
Makes
Without robust donor databases, often powerful CRM systems like Salesforce, Blackbaud, or Razor's Edge, personalizing those engagement opportunities we mentioned earlier would be nearly impossible. The real technical skill here is not just knowing how to input data, but in data hygiene, ensuring accuracy, and running complex queries to identify patterns.
Like what kind of patterns?
Well, for example, identifying which donors respond best to environmental appeals versus educational ones, or recognizing potential major donors based on their giving history and engagement levels. These platforms allow a campaign director to manage vast amounts of donor information, track every interaction, analyze giving patterns, and tailor communications, ensuring resources are allocated effectively and appeals are sent to the right people at the right time. It's about efficiency.
Okay, so once you have that foundational experience and the right tools, how do you actually grow engagement and fundraising? This is where I guess strategic thinking really comes into play, moving beyond just managing existing efforts to actively expanding them.
Exactly. This is where the campaign director truly becomes a strategist. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just about asking for money, but about fostering a deeper, more meaningful, and long-lasting relationship with supporters. The proposed strategies from our source are incredibly specific and insightful, moving beyond just generic tactics.
Okay, give us some of those specifics, because this is where it gets really interesting for anyone trying to understand how to, move the needle.
One of the core strategies mentioned is audience segmentation by donor tier.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Well, why is this so crucial? Because it acknowledges that a first-time donor who might have given $25 online has vastly different needs, motivations, and expectations than a long-standing major giver contributing 5 or 6 figures annually. Treating them the same would be a critical mistake, almost, well, maybe insulting to a major donor and potentially overwhelming to a new one. Tiered communication allows an organization to provide relevant, impactful messages and opportunities to each group, maximizing engagement and, crucially, retention. For example, a Friends of the Organization tier might receive a monthly newsletter, while a Leadership Circle tier gets exclusive quarterly updates directly from the CEO. It's tailored.
So it's about understanding that a one-size-fits-all approach is truly a one-size-fits-none approach in fundraising. It sounds like true personalization is key.
Exactly, which leads directly to the next strategy, impactful communication, speaking to the heart of each specific group.
Speaking to the heart.
Yeah, this is truly the aha moment for many organizations. It's about tailoring messages to resonate deeply with the specific motivations and values of each segment. Instead of a generic, "your donation helps us," for a major donor focused on environmental causes, it becomes something like, "Your visionary gift to our rainforest initiative is directly funding the installation of new canopy cameras, providing crucial data that protects endangered species, a legacy that will last generations."
Wow, that's specific.
Right. And for a first-time donor, it might be about showing the immediate, tangible impact of their smaller contribution on a local community project.
Hmm.
What kind of heart-speaking communication are we talking about? It's emotionally intelligent, outcome-focused, and demonstrates how their support directly aligns with their personal values and desired impact. Segmentation is what enables this level of precision.
That makes perfect sense. It's about building a narrative that truly connects on an emotional level. And beyond just communication, what about actual interaction, making them feel part of the mission?
That brings us to personalized engagement opportunities. This moves beyond just sending tailored messages to actual, tangible interactions that foster a sense of belonging and impact.
So what might these look like?
Well, they could be exclusive, intimate events for a specific tier of donors, perhaps a small private luncheon with program beneficiaries, or a behind-the-scenes tour of a facility. It could involve one-on-one meetings with the campaign director, a board member, or even the CEO for major donors to discuss specific projects or strategic direction.
Getting FaceTime.
Exactly. Or it might involve customized impact reports that show precisely how their contributions are making a difference, rather than just a generic annual report. The goal is to make each donor feel uniquely valued, deeply connected to the mission, and a true partner in the organization's success. This is often where a campaign director's creativity really shines.
I mean, you can't manage what you don't measure, right? All this strategy, all this personalization, it has to be tied back to tangible, quantifiable results. The source mentions, develop annual goals and integrate metrics into each campaign initiative to measure success.
Precisely. This highlights a truly results-oriented mindset. It moves beyond anecdotal success, "oh, that felt like a good event," to quantifiable achievements, demonstrating accountability.
Okay, what kind of metrics are we talking about here? Is it just dollars raised?
No, it's much broader. Beyond just total funds raised, it would certainly include donor acquisition cost, donor retention rates, which is a crucial indicator of long-term health, average gift size, conversion rates for different appeals, and the elusive but vital return on investment, ROI, for various campaign initiatives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, think about it. If a direct mail campaign costs $10,000 to execute and raise $30,000, that's a 200% ROI. A great campaign director tracks this to ensure efficient resource allocation. How do these annual goals inform the ongoing strategy of a campaign? They provide the overarching framework. Every campaign initiative, whether it's a social media appeal or a special event, needs to have clear, measurable objectives that contribute to the larger annual goals. This is about proactive planning and continuous improvement rather than simply reacting to outcomes. It ensures that efforts are strategically aligned and continually optimized, much like, I suppose, a seasoned investor managing a diversified portfolio.
Now, let's talk about the practical financial side of managing resources. Campaigns aren't free, and a skilled campaign director needs to be a real financial architect, not just a fundraiser.
This is a vital skill, absolutely. And the source makes it clear this isn't for novices. It highlights 7 years of experience in developing and managing budgets.
7 years.
Yeah, that indicates this is a mature, seasoned aspect of the role. This isn't something you learn overnight. It speaks to a level of expertise that comes only with significant practical experience in navigating financial complexities.
7 years is a substantial period. What does it truly mean to be familiar with both the creative and financial sides of budgeting? That sounds like a constant balancing act in itself.
It absolutely is. This isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers. It's about understanding how creative ideas and ambitious visions translate into tangible costs. For example, a campaign director needs to know the financial implications of designing a high-quality direct mail piece, producing a compelling video for a digital campaign, securing a desirable venue for an event, or investing in cutting-edge donor software.
Right? Everything has a price tag.
Everything does. And conversely, they also need to understand how financial constraints might shape creative output, how to achieve maximum impact within a limited budget, perhaps by leveraging pro bono resources or optimizing digital ad spend. It's the art of balancing grand vision with fiscal responsibility, ensuring every dollar spent contributes effectively to the campaign's goals and avoids wasteful expenditures. They become the bridge, really, between the visionaries and the accountants.
So they're not just presented with a budget, they're actively shaping it, understanding its implications, and adapting it. The source also mentions forecasting models for cash flow analysis and budget revision. This sounds even more dynamic than just setting a budget.
Indeed, this isn't just setting a budget at the beginning of a fiscal year and sticking to it rigidly. It's actively managing and adapting it in real time based on fluctuating income and expenditure.
Why is cash flow analysis so critical for a campaign?
Well, think of a campaign as a river. Donor contributions might come in bursts, maybe a large year-end appeal, a successful gala, while expenses for printing, advertising, or event deposits might be due at different times. Cash flow analysis ensures liquidity, that the organization always has enough cash on hand to meet its obligations, avoiding costly delays or, worse, inability to pay vendors.
Okay, keeping the lights on, essentially.
Yeah, and more than that. It also allows for strategic budget revision, enabling the campaign director to pivot resources as needed, perhaps allocating more funds to a highly successful channel that's exceeding expectations or pulling back from an underperforming one. It ensures financial agility and responsiveness throughout the campaign lifecycle, mitigating risks and maximizing opportunities.
Beyond the budget, there's the organization's very identity to protect. How do campaign directors ensure their messaging stays true to the core mission and brand, especially when they're running so many different types of campaigns simultaneously?
This is where the campaign director truly acts as a brand guardian. The commitment to staying true to the mission and brand is paramount, because the integrity, trustworthiness, and distinct identity of the organization are always at stake. Every communication, every appeal, every event needs to reflect the core values and established identity of the organization to build trust and avoid public confusion. It's about consistency.
So how do they actually do that on a practical, day-to-day level? What's the process to ensure that consistency?
The source highlights a fundamental process detail. Thoroughly review any written communication prior to release.
Just proofreading.
No, it's much more than basic proofreading for typos.
Right.
It's a strategic alignment check. It involves scrutinizing the tone, the specific language choices, the imagery, the overall message to ensure it resonates with and reinforces the organization's mission and brand guidelines. It's about catching any inconsistencies, any unintentional deviations, or any misrepresentations before they ever reach the public. This process prevents embarrassing missteps and maintains a unified voice.
And it sounds like this isn't a solitary task. There's a lot of collaboration involved to keep everyone on the same page.
Exactly. The source notes a crucial collaboration detail: to hold regular meetings with marketing and communications teams to stay in line with content and messaging.
Ah, breaking down silos.
Precisely. This underscores the essential interdepartmental collaboration required. Why are these meetings so important? They prevent those silos from forming, where fundraising might develop its own messaging that inadvertently conflicts with broader organizational communications, perhaps using different taglines or inconsistent visuals. These meetings ensure a unified voice and a consistent brand experience across all touchpoints, from social media to annual reports to direct mail. This unified approach is absolutely crucial for building public trust and reinforcing the brand in the public's mind, creating a cohesive narrative for all stakeholders.
What happens if a campaign deviates from the brand? What are the practical risks there for an organization? I mean, does it really matter that much?
Oh, it matters hugely. The risks are significant and can be long-lasting. At best, it can lead to donor confusion, where supporters aren't sure what the organization stands for or how their donations are truly being used. This can erode donor loyalty and make future appeals less effective.
Okay.
At worst, it can lead to severe reputational damage, particularly in a world where information spreads so rapidly. A misaligned message could be perceived as disingenuous, misleading, or even offensive, resulting in negative press, a loss of public trust, and a direct impact on future fundraising efforts. A strong, consistent brand presence is a key asset for any nonprofit, and the campaign director is absolutely critical in maintaining that integrity.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. In today's world, intuition alone won't cut it. How does a campaign director leverage data to optimize their efforts and make truly smart, impactful choices?
This is where we see the blend of creativity and analytical rigor truly come into play. The answer from the source stresses that data-driven decisions are essential. It's no longer enough to just have a good gut feeling about a campaign. You need concrete evidence to back up your strategies and demonstrate effectiveness. This is where the campaign director steps into the role of, well, maybe a data scientist.
The data scientist.
Uh,
Okay, what kind of tools are they using for this, and what specific kinds of data are we talking about beyond just how much money was raised?
Well, the source gives us concrete examples. I use analytics tools and programs to track engagement, donor sentiment, and visual aids. So this goes far beyond just tracking donations.
Donor sentiment, how do you track that?
That's a great question. What does tracking donor sentiment involve? And why is it so powerful?
It's about understanding the emotional connection donors have to the organization and their perception of its work. This could involve formal surveys, analysis of feedback from donor interactions, maybe social media listening tools to gauge public perception, or even qualitative data gathered from focus groups. It's not just transactional data, it's a deeper, more qualitative insight into the donor relationship, which can be incredibly powerful for refining messaging, optimizing engagement strategies, and addressing concerns proactively. Imagine knowing not just who is giving, but how they feel about your mission.
So it's not just about what people are doing, like clicking or donating, but how they're feeling about the organization and its campaigns. That's a deep level of insight. How do they actually use this information then to make real-time adjustments and plan for the future? This is the so what of data analysis, using insights to strategically reallocate resources, replicate successes, and learn from areas that didn't meet expectations. The source states, this helps me to identify success stories and where to focus resources and efforts for future campaigns.
Yeah.
It's about continuous learning and adaptation.
Example.
Well, if your analytics show that a particular message resonates strongly with a certain demographic on social media, the data allows you to double down on that, perhaps expanding the ad spend or creating similar content. If an event yields poor engagement despite significant investment, the data can help identify why was it the timing, the venue, the messaging. So you can adjust for the next one. This proactive, iterative approach to campaign management ensures maximum efficiency and impact, transforming a campaign director from just a manager to a true strategic innovator.
And finally, after all the hard work, after all the planning, execution, and that deep data analysis, how do campaign directors measure their ultimate success and then report back to stakeholders in a clear, compelling way?
This completes the entire cycle of a campaign, from planning to execution to assessment. It starts, as the source points out, with the setting of clear goals and checkpoints, emphasizing foresight and structure. You simply can't effectively evaluate success if you haven't clearly defined what success looks like from the outset. These aren't vague aspirations. They're often SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, SMART goals. And what kind of metrics are they tracking for this final comprehensive evaluation? Is it just about the money raised again, or is there a broader scope?
No, it's far more comprehensive than that. The source specifies, I track metrics such as donor sentiment, retention rates, fundraising goals, and campaign ROI to measure performance.
Ah, retention rates again. Why is that so critical?
It speaks directly to long-term sustainability. Acquiring new donors is expensive. Retaining existing ones is far more cost-effective and builds a stable, loyal base of support. A high retention rate signifies successful relationship building and donor satisfaction. It shows you're not just churning through donors.
Right, keeping people engaged long term.
Exactly. And campaign ROI, or return on investment, ties it all back to financial efficiency. It asks, for every dollar we invested in this campaign, how many dollars did we get back? For example, if a campaign cost $50,000 and raised $150,000, the ROI is 200%. That's a $100,000 net gain divided by the $50,000 cost. This is a crucial metric for demonstrating accountability and informing future investment decisions, showing stakeholders the tangible value of their efforts.
So once all this data is gathered, analyzed, and the full picture of success, or maybe areas for improvement, emerges, how is it then presented? Because raw data isn't always digestible for everyone, particularly for, say, busy board members or external partners.
That's where the reporting phase comes in. The source states, once the campaign is complete, I compile and analyze the data and create a report that appropriately communicates all outcomes. This highlights a crucial communication aspect of evaluation, translating complex data into understandable, actionable insights for various stakeholders.
What does appropriately communicates imply there?
It suggests tailoring the report to the specific audience. For a board, it might focus on financial outcomes, strategic impact, and future recommendations. For staff, it might detail lessons learned and process improvements. For key donors, it might emphasize the specific impact their generosity created. It's about telling the story of the campaign through data in a way that is clear, compelling, transparent, and ultimately useful for driving future decisions and reinforcing trust. It's storytelling with numbers.
So we've walked through the 6 key areas that truly define a top-tier campaign director, outlining their foundational fundraising prowess, their sharp financial acumen, their data-driven decision-making, and their unwavering commitment to brand integrity. But as you said, this role doesn't exist in a vacuum.
No, it certainly doesn't. The Kaplan source also offers a glimpse into related roles, which helps us understand the broader ecosystem of campaigning and organizational management. For instance, it lists interview questions for related jobs like administrative analyst, business development assistant, and even campaign worker or campaigner.
Ah, so there's a whole spectrum.
Exactly. This illustrates that the skills we've discussed today, project management, persuasive communication, strategic thinking, data analysis, relationship building, have broader applicability across an organization. It also indicates that there's a clear career path within this field, from supportive roles like a campaign worker, who might be executing specific tasks on the ground, up to a strategic leadership position like the campaign director, who oversees the entire vision and execution. It's a field with definite growth potential for those interested in making a significant impact.
And for those of you who might be on the other side of the interview table, either as a candidate aspiring to this role, or perhaps as a hiring manager looking to sharpen your own professional edge, the source hints at powerful tools designed to help in this competitive landscape.
Absolutely. The Kaplan Community Career Center, where these questions are sourced, also offers tools like an interview coach and an offer analyzer. These are designed to equip you for, well, every stage of your career journey.
Okay, tell us about the interview coach. That sounds like something that could truly give someone an edge when stepping into a high-stakes interview for a role like campaign director.
What's fascinating here is that it's described as a revolutionary tool designed to transform your interview performance. This reinforces the idea that preparing for these kinds of strategic questions we've just detailed is a skill that can be honed and perfected. It's not just about having the experience, but about articulately demonstrating it.
Practicing your answers.
Yeah, the coach likely helps you practice your responses, refine your storytelling, maybe even improve nonverbal cues. This kind of targeted practice can elevate your chances significantly and help you make your mark in every interview scenario by practicing how to convey your skills and experience effectively and confidently. It turns the interview process from, a daunting challenge into a structured opportunity for success.
And then once you've made your mark and hopefully landed that offer, there's the offer analyzer. That sounds incredibly practical for anyone navigating today's complex job market, especially for such a specialized role.
It truly is. This tool allows you to compare your job offer and compensation package with what the market pays today. This speaks to the broader professional landscape and the importance of understanding your own value. In roles as specialized and impactful as campaign director, compensation can vary widely based on experience, location, the size and budget of the organization, the scope of responsibilities.
Lots of factors.
Many factors. Having a tool that provides real-time market insights empowers candidates to negotiate confidently, ensuring they are fairly compensated for their extensive skills and contributions. It's about making informed career decisions beyond just securing the job, recognizing the full value of your expertise.
So whether you're hiring a campaign director, aspiring to be one yourself, or simply curious about what makes these impact drivers tick, these resources and insights really underscore the dynamic, analytical, and deeply human aspects of leading impactful campaigns. It's a role that truly demands a nuanced synthesis of many different skills.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
We've truly delved into the strategic mind of a campaign director, from their foundational fundraising prowess and sharp financial acumen to their data-driven decision-making and unwavering commitment to brand integrity. We've seen them as orchestrators, strategists, and brand guardians.
We've seen that a successful campaign director is far more than just a fundraiser. They are a holistic leader capable of crafting compelling narratives, meticulously managing complex budgets, and leveraging cutting-edge analytics to truly move the needle. They are the synthesis of creative flair, organizational precision, and a deep understanding of human connection. It's a role that combines, the heart of a storyteller with the precise brain of an analyst. For anyone looking to understand, hire, or even become a campaign director, this deep dive provides a clear roadmap of the skills that matter most, highlighting the multifaceted expertise required to drive meaningful impact and build lasting relationships in the nonprofit world.
Which I think raises an important question for you to consider. In an increasingly digital and data-rich world, with advancements in AI and automation seemingly everywhere, how might the role of the campaign director continue to evolve? How might it demand even more sophisticated integration of technology while simultaneously requiring an even greater emphasis on human empathy and authentic personal connection? Where does that balance lie in the future?
That's definitely something to mull over until our next deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us.